Hello and welcome ladies and gents to Always Busy Gaming. In today's video we would be looking at the different buildings present in T-30 and understanding how they work, what they cost and how they compare to one another. If you don't know about this game, then I invite you to check out this introductory video from the top right corner of your screen. Now this video might be a bit boring to some as it's just me reading out text displayed on your screen, but it's also going to be super useful as the game doesn't allow us to read these facts and figures after pausing the game. So if you don't want to waste precious minutes of in-game time and would like to reference these stats on the fly, then this video is made just for you. I have also made chapters for each building so as to make navigation easier. So let's jump right in. First off, we have transport and exploration. Under this, the first thing is the road, which is what basically transports work to or from an adjacent tile and must join onto an existing road. It transfers 10 work every 0.1 second. That means 600 work per second. Next would be the fact that it costs just 1 stone. Next is a bridge. Bridges are same like roads as compared to how much work they transfer, but the only thing is that they transport work over lakes and rivers and must start and end on water. Now each bridge or each tile of the bridge costs 50 wood, 50 stone and 10 metals. The lookout post can be placed on a desert or a plains tile to reveal more of the map and must be connected to a road. It costs 10 wood and 5 stone. Whereas the mountain lookout post is the same as a lookout post, but that it reveals a much larger area as it is placed on top of a mountain. Now this costs 20 wood and 10 stone. That means it costs double the cost of a normal lookout post. Alright, so now let's look at agriculture, farms and water sources. So the first thing that we would look at is tilled land, which is fertile land prepared for planting, and we can add water to it to convert it to a farm. Note that this eventually depletes and needs replanting. So this costs 10 compost. The next thing we would look at are greenhouse, which are an improved food source that requires water and energy to function. A pump station generally supplies enough water for them. They take 10 water and 10 energy per second and result in 10 food being generated per second. Now I know that per second is not mentioned for water and energy, but it is definitely per second. Now the cost of each greenhouse is 1000 compost, 100 wood, 20 metals and 20 plastic. The next is an arboretum, which generates seeds for renewable forests and biorockets. It requires a lot of water to function, which is 20 water per second, and it gives us 1 seed every second. This too costs 1000 compost, 100 wood, 20 metal and 20 plastic. Next up we have renewable forests, which generate a renewable source of wood and require 20 water to function, and in return they give us 2 compost and 2 wood per second. This also costs 1000 compost and 100 seeds. The next thing is a well, which generates and distributes a small amount of water which can be used to grow farms from tilled land or convert desert tiles into plains. This generates 5 water every second and costs 20 wood and 20 stone. Next up is the pump station, which has to be placed next to a river or lake so as to pump a large amount of water to adjacent structures. Now this requires 10 energy to function, and it gives out 50 water every second and costs 50 metal and 50 plastic. And lastly we have the water tower, which has to be placed adjacent to a pump station or within range of another water tower. It distributes water to other water towers and to the surrounding land. Now it has a capacity to transfer 500 water every second. That means it can roughly cater to around 10 water pumps, and it costs 10 metals and 10 plastic. Okay, next let's look at the housing, apartments, camps, and high rises. So the first is the basic camp, which converts food into work and compost. It takes one food and gives us one compost and one work every second, and it must be connected to a road. It costs 20 wood. Next up are apartments, which generate more work than a camp but require more food plus an energy source. Now it takes 5 food and 10 energy and gives out 5 compost and 10 work. So basically more work per food, and this too must be connected to a road, and it costs 50 wood, 50 stone and 10 plastic. Lastly, we have a high rise, which takes 10 food and 40 energy and gives us 10 compost and 50 work. So basically at the cost of energy we are saving out on making food, and this also costs stone, 100 stone, 20 metals, 20 plastic and 20 minerals. Okay, the next thing we have are industry. So the first in the industry tab is a logging site, which can be placed on a forest to generate wood. It requires around one work and gives us one compost and one wood. Now this depletes over time, and like everything else must be connected to a road. It costs 20 metal. Next up we have a quarry, which can be placed on a mountain to generate stone and requires work to function. It depletes over a long time. So it takes 2 work every second and gives us 2 stone every second. It costs 20 wood and 20 metals. So it's very interesting to note that the quarry costs wood to make and the logging camp costs stone to make. Next up we have an advanced quarry, which takes 10 work and 20 energy and gives us 10 stone every second. So basically the benefit of taking an advanced quarry is that it's much faster than the regular quarry and takes an energy cost as compared to direct and only work. It takes 100 wood, 50 metal and 10 plastic to be built. Next up we have a reclamation site, which has to be placed on a skyscraper to reclaim metal and plastic. It requires a lot of work to function and depletes over time. So basically it takes 3 works and gives us 1 metal and 1 plastic every second, and it costs just 30 wood to set up. An advanced reclamation site takes 20 work and 10 energy per second, but also gives us 5 metal, 5 plastic and 1 mineral per second. So the difference primarily is the fact that we also get a mineral from here. And the advanced reclamation site costs 50 wood, 10 metal and 10 plastic. Then we have a plastic synthesizer, which absorbs carbon from the atmosphere and turns it into plastic. It requires energy to function. So 20 energy would give us 1 plastic every second. This costs 100 metal, 10 plastics and 10 minerals to set up. Next up we have the metal synthesizer, which when placed on a water tile extracts metal and minerals. So it takes 20 energy per second and gives us 3 metal and 1 mineral every 3 seconds. And it costs 10 metal, 100 plastic and 10 minerals. Then we have the energy tab, which firstly features the windmill, which generates energy for apartments, greenhouses and advanced industries. It only transmits energy to adjacent structures and generates 10 energy every second. Now this costs 20 metal and 20 plastics to set up. The solar panels are an energy source which I personally prefer much more, as they provide 50 energy every second as compared to 10 energy of the windmill. Now the solar panel costs 50 metal, 50 plastic and 20 minerals to set up. And lastly, in this tab we have the energy transmitter, which when placed adjacent to a source of energy, that means a windmill or a solar panel, or within range of an energy transmitter, transmits energy to other energy transmitters and other structures which require power. Now, energy transmitter has a capacity to cater 500 energy per second. That means that it can cater to around 10 solar panels every second. And the energy transmitter costs 10 metal and 10 plastics to set up. Now lastly we have the rockets tab, where the first thing is the basic rocket, which costs 50 stone, 10 metal and 10 plastic and carries 400 survivors and does not really charge up over time. Second, we have the bio rocket, which can carry up to 6,000 survivors but requires water to charge up over time, and it requires 10 waters and gives per second and charges up for 100 survivors every second. So that means it would take around 1 minute to reach full capacity, all while drawing 10 water every second. Now this costs 1,000 compost, 300 stone, 30 metal and 100 seed. Lastly, we have the advanced rocket, which is a high-tech rocket carrying up to 12,000 survivors and requires energy to charge. It takes twice as long as compared to a bio rocket. That means it takes around 2 minutes for an advanced rocket to charge up. That means every second drawing 20 energy and providing for 100 survivors. Now this costs 1,000 stone, 100 metal, 200 plastic and 50 minerals. Lastly, we have the clear area, clear land option, which doesn't really cost anything, but actually each area of or each type of junk has a different cost. Like for example, we can cost 1 metal here to gain 10 metal, and for rocks it costs 1 metal and gives us 10 stone. Now this changes depending on the type of junk that we are reclaiming. Alright, so that covers all the buildings present in game as on date. If you feel a bit confused about the basics of the game and would like some help to figure out stuff, then check out this beginner's guide video from the top right corner of your screen. That's it from my end, guys and gals. This is Ashes Bashes signing off. Until next video, game on.